So as I said yesterday, we worked through how to do block lettering, and then we very quickly learned how to do 3-dimension really fast and really easy. So now we're going to apply that to this letter A, all right? So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put these lines in first. Those kind of lines that come off of the letter. And that's at most every corner, whether it's a corner sticking out or a corner going in. But because we're going to stay on the left-hand side, we have to get kind of choosy. So I'm going to start up here at the top right-hand corner, and I'm going to start making those small parallel lines. So all of these lines that I'm about to make, they're all pretty much the same length, and they're all going in the same direction. Okay? So here, we're going to go right here. We're going to skip this one because you don't technically see it. So then we're going to go to this one. And then that one. And that one. Just like that. Okay, so in total you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice that they're all pretty much the same length. Notice that they're all going in the same direction for the most part. Some of them, if they're a little wonky, correct them out. That one's not long enough. Okay, so the next set of lines that I'm going to work on are, I'm just going to close off if they're like straight across horizontals, because now I'm matching the lines that I've already been put in. So I'm going to focus here, here, and here, and I'm just going to match my straight across horizontal. So basically it's like I'm kind of completing out these almost like rectangles that I've made. Okay, just like that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I need to finish up my last two, and I do that by mimicking or creating another parallel line. So I'm just going to connect this out from here to here. Now, if you have kind of like issues, like it went out too far, you can kind of change that line and make things connect the way that they need to. Okay, then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Connect that out like that. Okay, so one last area that I have to address is this inner shape that's inside of our A. So to kind of see where I would need to put another line, I'm going to have one coming out that corner up here. So it matches those, or at least this one. And then I need to kind of see where this line goes, and I'll put that in there. Miss Anderson's room. Hey. Hey. Tyler. Sure. You're welcome. Bye. You need to go to the nurse's office. Don't pack your stuff up. You'll just, because you're going to come back. Okay. And then that's it. All right. So now we're done. We've blocked out the A. We did the 3-dimension on this little trapezoid, and now we applied it to the letter. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work at trying this out in a couple more complicated shapes. So I'm going to switch back over to the presentation here. We're going to try this lightning bolt. Okay? So the lightning bolt is pretty easy. If you just look at these lines, they're just like backwards L's. Okay, these go in just a little bit more, so they're kind of a little like italicized backwards L's. But in general, it's fairly easy. So we start, the pink lines are the lines that you begin with. Blue lines are, they're technically there, they technically exist, but we can't see them because of the front face of the lightning bolt. Okay, so I'm going to start with the top portion, and so that's a diagonal line that goes up to the right. And then remember how I said they're just like backwards L's. So, and they're just a little bit longer. So I'm just going to draw 1, Then I'm going to draw 2. And then for my last one, I'm just going to let it end in a point, kind of like that. Okay, then I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side, but I'm going to italicize them out, so I'm going to make them a little more slanty. Kind of like that. There's my backwards L. And then last one is I'm letting it end in a point. So just like that. And I'll wait for people to catch up. Am I going a little too fast? No? Okay. Yes, I am. Okay. All right, so I'll wait for some people to catch up. There's a ton of them in a little container up on that front table. Kind of close back to where the little air freshener is that's plugged into the wall. Nope, you're looking at the right table. Find the air freshener plugged into the wall. Now look around the jars in that area. See them? Yeah. All right. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and move on. So just like in the A, okay, no. What's wrong? What's wrong? You want me to, okay, here, I'll draw another lightning bolt. Do you want me to draw another one? You guys don't have to draw 2, but do I need to draw another one? You guys can see? Yeah? Okay, here we go. So I'm going to start at the top, so you guys don't have to draw 2. I'm just doing this to help out. Now I'm drawing backward 2 backwards L's. 1, 2, and I just let that bottom one end. So you do not have to do the second one if you got the first one. Then I'm going to draw 2 more L's. I'm going to slant them in a little bit more. 1, 2, and then I'm letting it end in a point. Okay? All right, I'm going to move on, and I'm going to work on dimensions. If you get behind, don't worry about it. I'm recording it, right? Meow. And I'll put it on canvas so you can take a look. Okay, so now just like with our A, we're going to look at each of our corners here on the right-hand side, and we're going to start placing those same kind of lines coming out from each of those corners, whether it's an outie corner or an innie corner. Okay, so by the time that you're done with those lines, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So let's start with mimicking the long part of the L's and just closing up those like little rectangles, or they're going to look like rectangles. So I've got that one, trying to mimic the angles. So I might have to adjust to make some of my lines a little longer. Just like that. Bam, bam, bam. Okay. So you got 1, 2, 3 of those, and they're the same as the line right across from them. Then I'm going to finish up by mimicking the little part of the L and the little part of the L by going right here. Little part of the L, little part of the L. There you go. Okay, some of you this is easy. For some of you it's kind of difficult. Okay, I'll just do a really quick repeat on my second lightning bolt. So if you got lost, I'm going to show you again now. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. Then I'm going to close out the rectangles by making these lines parallel. Okay, then I'm going to mimic the same like little part of the L's. There we go, 3D. All right, we're awesome. Okay, going to switch back over my presentation. So we just did that to the lightning bolt. Now we're going to start practicing curves, and curves are a little more challenging. Okay, Those of you that are working ahead, don't value these in yet, because I have a plan for you. Do not value them in with your pencil just yet. Okay? So let's try to work through an S. So we don't have to make it very large. We can go smaller. So when I'm blocking out letters, what's my first step?
Draw an S.
Draw an S. Yes. There we go. I drew an S. Okay, so to start with blocking out for the S, I'm going to give myself my 2 straight horizontal lines, one that goes beneath this top line and one that goes above this bottom one. So just like this. Okay. So one above here, one below there. And then you just need to mimic and follow the curves of your S that you already put in there. So just like this. So I'm trying to keep it the same width all the way around as much as I possibly can. And then I'm going to finish up this one. And in there. Okay, what's my third step after I get it blocked in?
Erase the S.
Erase the original S. Good job. All right, now let's take a quick peek at the presentation. Let's look at where some of these lines are going to start out at, okay? So where we're going to start is we're going to go off of these corners, one right here, here, and here. We're going to start there, and then I'll finish up with these 2 pink lines. Okay? So I'm going to start here, and don't be tricked. We're going in a different direction. So do not draw this line that I'm about to show you. Do not draw this line that I'm about to show you. Do not draw this line that I'm about to show you. We've been going in this direction, but we're going to change that. So now you will draw this line that I'm about to draw, and we're going to go this way instead. Okay, so we're angling it up and to the right. And we're going to make that same line 2 more times off of both of these little corners back here. Okay? All right. Now what we have to do is we kind of have to figure out where is the topmost part of our S and then where's the bottommost part. So if it were like to sit on a table and then touch the ceiling. So it's going to be right about here. So I'm going to draw one of these lines starting right about there. Okay, something like that. And then I'm going to do the same down here. So I'm going to draw one of those lines, and I think, so it's going to come more over here on this side. Let's see, that doesn't look right. This one takes a little bit for it to look correct. So I might have to kind of change the way my S looks. Here we go. And then that other one goes down there. All right, so to connect the 2 out to get it to look 3-dimensional, I might change it just a touch coming in from there. I'm going to mimic this curve to close this shape off. So just like this. Okay. Then this other one, it's going to mimic this shape, and we'll see if it hits here. And if it does, yep, it's going to. So then it's going to go underneath that and then come up and just kind of disappear. Okay, so I just came up, mimicked this because I want this to look 3-dimensional. I went underneath that part, let that disappear, and you're good on that side. Now let's just go with an easy part here. Mimic, copy this line. Just like copy paste. Just kind of finish that parallelogram out. And now off of this corner right here, you're just gonna mimic this line that you've got going on right here. So it's just kind of a backwards J, a little bit. Just like that, and you just let it disappear. Okay, so something like that. So the top of my S, it's looking kind of wonky-ish. And so what I could do to kind of fix that out is I can make this line a touch shorter and have it come in like that, and that already looks a lot better to me. And I could do the same thing with down here. So I can make this line just a touch shorter and bring that curve down more. That looks a little better. Bottom still needs some work. All right, but there we go. Okay, so we not only learned how to block out a letter, we learned how to do 3-dimension. We applied the 3-dimension to our letters, then we did it in a complicated lightning bolt, and then we complicated it out even more by doing a curve. All right, so that's it for that, and everybody flip your worksheet over. Okay, so hopefully most of you have the worksheet that has, do you see this art up here in the top right corner? Okay, we're going to replicate that. All right, so those of you that this is easy for you to do, you can move through this at your own pace. Don't value anything in. Okay, so you can work at manipulating out the letters, but don't value any way in. And we're doing an exact copy. Okay, so those of you that aren't that confident in doing that, and I'm going to back up here. We're just going to go step by step. So the first thing that we're going to do is blocking out our letters. And what's our first step? We'll start with the A, and then what do we start with first? You just draw the letter A, right? So I'm going to go a little smaller. So I'm going to draw the A in there, and I'm actually going to draw out, or I'm going to write out A art altogether. So A, R, T, and I'm looking at kind of even spacing. Okay, so kind of look at even spacing. Now this may seem really tedious, but here's why I want you to do this. So you don't have to draw this, but you can just watch and listen on this part. So like last year, or for example, I'll just use my name. And so whenever we did graffiti last year, I'd see everybody get really super confident and think and go one block and block one letter out at a time. And when they did that, so it started to look like this. So I'm just going to use like my name, for example. So they're getting these really nice big block letters in. And then they're like, uh-oh. And then it looks like really bad at the end because they ran out of room, and then they're wanting to be lazy and not go and correct everything out. So by going through these steps, it should keep everything measured out just right. Okay, so I'm going to erase that out. And then so we've got these in there, which will help us with spacing. And then we're going to work through blocking out. And then the next tidbit is learning how to manipulate your font, how to physically draw and hand write out a different kind of font. Okay, so just like we did on the back side of the paper, I'm going to block out my letter A. So I think I just want to start with all my horizontals first. Doesn't really matter how you guys start with. Then I go and I start kind of copying my parallels. If you go out of your box a little bit, that's okay. If you go out of your box a lot, that'll be a problem. Okay? And then I'm also going to put this middle shape in there, and I'm going to leave it as a triangle instead of giving it a flat top. Keaton, you working through this? All right, so I got my block letter in. I erased out my original letter. And then everybody give me a heads up look at me whenever you're done. And just kind of either stare at the screen or stare at me. I don't care. But I just want to see that most people are ready to manipulate. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, we're getting there. Got about half people ready. Get a mint while I'm waiting for the last few stragglers. Okay, so I have a couple more people. All right. So before we actually start making this three-dimensional, we're going to manipulate it first, and then we're going to put our 3-dimension in. So what we're doing is we're literally copying this A. I'm going to make it look as close to it as I possibly can. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in this, let me move that down. I'm going to start here at the top left-hand corner, and then as I draw, I'm going to draw like going around a clock. So I'm going to draw like clockwise. So I'm going to start here, go around, and then end there. Okay? All right, so if I check out the top of the A, I need to change it a bit from this one. So I'm going to start right about here. Okay? And I'll go slow. So I'm going to start there, kind of make sure I touch the corner here on my block letter. I'm going to start curving it to where I touch the other corner. So right here I'm using my block letter as like a base and a guideline. Okay? So down here you guys can't really see it because it's behind the R on your worksheet, but it goes this way and then it changes directions. So it comes down this way, and if it goes into your R, don't worry about it. And then I'm going to change direction right about here, and I'll make it connect to that bottom corner right there. So it's like I drew a little mountain on its side. So I have like a wee teeny mountain here, and then a little bit bigger mountain that way. That's what it looks like. All right. My base on this A, on the leg of the A, it's not horizontal anymore. It's diagonal. So I'm just going to draw a diagonal line and let it touch to the other edge of that leg that I already drew. Now I need to readjust this to match this. So I'm making a parallel. So I'm going to go like that. And I'm going to stop right where that line is. Okay? Then I'm going to do the exact same thing over here on this side. So I'm going to come across here. This one's already pretty much set for me. So then I need to change the foot. Need it to match this angle. And technically in the picture, the legs are way a lot closer together. You guys can do that, or you can keep it further apart. Mine's a lot further apart, which is fine. Okay. Now we got some things going on. So I'm going to teach you real quick of something that I like to do, and that's useful in drawing. It's kind of giving yourself guidelines and just kind of anchors. So we have this section here that if we were to draw a simple A, this section is this line. Well, in the A that's on your worksheet, that comes out a little bit. So it looks like that. So we've got to draw that in 3 dimensions. So what I'm going to do to make sure that I stop and start in the right places, I'm going to kind of make a dotted line coming out that correspond to this section, so I know when to stop and where to start. Okay? So on this other part of the leg, I need to end out the parallel and I'm going to stop on the dotted line that I created for myself. Then I'm going to come out and make this little protrusion. So I'm going to draw on my dotted line. I wouldn't.
I finished the thing.
You totally finished it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then I angle this out, stop at my dotted line, draw on my top line there, all the way to where I meet the original block letter. Then I'm gonna go ahead and stick with my block letter here a little bit, and I need to make another little protrusion that's at the top left, so I'm only gonna go up there a little bit. And how do I wanna do it? I'm gonna go where I started, make a line like that, have it go in, and stop like that. Okay, now let me go ahead and erase all my original block letter so then you guys can see what it looks like without. So if you got finished with it and you drew in those little dotted guidelines, so go ahead and start erasing out your original block letter and guidelines if you created them. Okay, so it's not manipulated out as much as the drawing, but it's fairly good. It's all right. And then I need to kind of fix up this triangle here. So I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to make it match this parallel. Might have it kind of curve here at the bottom. And then kind of, I think I want the inside to go a little straighter up. Just kind of offset it a little bit. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna pause for a second to let some of you catch up. I know for some of you this is pretty easy, so I appreciate your patience. It's just like that, and then you can go through and make adjustments if you want. Like if you want it to be a little rounder, if I want to bring this in a little more, you can do that. So you can make as many adjustments as you want. Okay. And then we're going to 3D this out. I've still got quite a few people that seem to be working on it. Don't shade it in.
It just helps me with that.
Don't shade it in. All right, let's get some 3D going on here. Now we're working off of the different side that we have been, okay? So the first thing we're gonna start with is just our corners, and I'm gonna start here at this bottom right-hand corner, and I'm gonna go in this direction. So here's where we're going. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see, does that one go in there? Maybe one goes in there, but it looks a little wonky, so I'm going to leave it out for right now. So we got 10 to 11. All right, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and like these kind of rectangles we've got going on, let's go ahead and close them up. So on the bottom of the A's, close up those rectangles, so you're just mimicking the line that's straight across from it. Oops, I didn't do very good on that one. Okay, it's a little better. There's that. So I've got these closed. Boom, 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 boom. Ooh. Alyssa, put that on silent. Okay, now for this inner one right here, I'm going to just go straight across, and then I'm going to go angled in. So I'm going to go straight across here. And then I'm going to mimic this line for the other side, just like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. So I need to mimic this line. And then I come off of that corner to that one. I need to kind of fix up my angles, so I'm going to just take a second here to fix some things up. Give me a second. There we go. That's better. Okay. So then technically this one that's looking wonky over here, that's what we would be doing also. So this is going to go in this way, and maybe that just barely comes out there. And then it comes down like that. Not perfect, but it works. Okay, and then if we look at the inside of the A, we're going to be bringing up this line. Let's see. I need to fix that angle. More like that. Okay, so then we've got that in there, and that's it. Okay, so now we manipulated that out. Don't shade it in yet, guys, because I've got another plan for you, because you're not going to use regular pencil for value. I'm going to teach you how to use colored pencil to get your value. Okay, so don't value anything in yet, because then your pencil value will just make it look muddy and dirty. Okay, so now we're going to draw out the R, and then I'm also going to show you how you're able to show overlapping and underlapping, because that's what I'm also going to want in your graffiti. So if you notice, I'm repeating pretty much everything that we've done, but then I add just a little extra thing each time that we do this together. So now go ahead and block out your letter R and draw right through your A. Like so. Just draw right on top of it or right through it. Okay, so I'm moving a little faster through this one because we've done this quite often. The inner shape for the blocked out R is just a capital letter D. Then I'm going to erase out that original R that I drew. And I'm also going to erase out that side of the A. So there you go, insta overlapping. Okay, so do you guys see where now by just erasing out that side of the A that it looks like it's behind your R? And hopefully everyone should be like, yes. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to go through the same motion. So if you really get this, you can work ahead of me, okay? Those of you that don't quite understand it yet, I'm going to go just a touch faster, but you can just watch how I do it. And I'm using my, oh, maybe not. Okay. Tomorrow, because my timer just went off, tomorrow I'll start out at the R with you guys. We'll finish manipulating that out and the T. And then you're going to be practicing some font lettering on your own tomorrow. And then we don't have real class on Friday, so I won't see you Friday. Okay? All right, go ahead and get your things put up for today.